Hi, welcome to Everyone Can Jam, where everyone can learn some really basic music theory that's not hard to learn and how to use it to do some fun, very helpful things on guitar. If you haven't watched the Gateway Chords series yet, you probably want to watch Gateway Chords A first. We learned something about A, something about D and E, something magical with the F chord, and what we're doing today is, well, in the other Gateway lessons, we learned how to spell the chords. An A chord has A, C sharp, and E in it, for example. We learned A, E, D, and F. So if you've been memorizing the chords as we go, you only have 2 more to go, and you will have the 6 chords that I'm suggesting. What this is a PDF. You're going to print it front to back on cardstock, and then you'll have some flashcards you can use to learn your chord spelling. C chord is spelled C, E, G, and D chord is spelled D, F sharp, A. The neat thing is that once you memorize these 6 chords, you have memorized like 90% of all the memorizing you ever have to do to work with chords and know how to spell them and create the chords you want. And I'm going to show you why that is. Just think about it for a second. In music, we have, if we just do all the natural notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then that's 7 notes. If you add in the sharps and flats, there's 12 notes in music. And that means 12 keys or 12 major chords that you could make building on those notes or make out of those keys. So there's only 12 major chords that you would need to know. When it comes to all the other chords, they're related to the major chords. Your minor chords are related to the major chords. So once you get these chords memorized, there might be nothing you ever need. You might not ever need to memorize these spellings again. Just really quickly, I want to show you all the major chords. I don't want you to try to learn these. It won't do you on guitar. It's not going to help you right away to know these. If you're a piano player, you might want to know these. But on guitar, if you memorize these, you may never need those. And I want you to see, after you memorize these 6, if you ever did need to know these other chords, I want you to notice how the letter spelling is the same. An E chord is E, G sharp, B, and E flat chord is still E, G, B. It's just not a sharp, but there's flat chords. An A chord is still an A, a C, and an E. So the letter part of this is the same for these ones down here. And then the only thing that's left are the B chords, and they're both spelt B, D, F. So I highly recommend you memorize these 6. And there's just this cool pattern I want to show you. When you study music theory, there's patterns that emerge, and they show up in different places. And it's kind of cool when that happens. This is a pattern that will show up in different places. And if you don't have to. If you feel like memorizing it, it can help you with your chord spellings. This pattern will show you how to spell all the chords. If we're just looking at the letters, not worrying about sharps and flats, a C chord will be spelled C, E, G. An E chord will be spelled E, G, B. A G chord will be spelled G, B, D. A B chord will be spelled B, D, F. D chord is D, F, A. F chord is F, A, C. A chord, A, C, E, and so on. A fun way to learn this pattern is to sing it to the tune of Sunshine of Your Love. C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G. But don't be confused. If you want to play Sunshine of Your Love, those are not the notes that you play. I'm just singing that melody. It's just a way of singing these notes, and you can get it stuck in your head. And that kind of makes it easier to remember your chord spellings, but not necessary. So let's review really. I want to show you just a couple things really quick so you can see where we're going with this, and you can see why memorizing these 6 chords it is a gateway to a lot of important, fun, helpful things that you'll be able to do. You'll be able to solve problems, you'll be able to create chord shapes, you'll be able to figure out how to make a chord if you don't have, like say, whatever, G augmented fifth or something like that. You'll be able to figure it out, even if you don't have a chart or a book to show it to you. Let's see. So last week we looked at the F shape, and we learned how this part of the F chord is the 1 and the 3 and the 5 of the F chord. F, A, C. And we learned, when we're making our F shape, F, A, C. And we learned how to move this shape. So if this is an F note and we go 2 frets higher, that would be a G note. And if you've memorized how to spell a G chord, it's G, B, D. Then your guitar will tell you that this is a B and this is a D. If you go 2 frets higher, that would be an A note. And if you've memorized your A chord, you would know that you have A, C sharp, E. Your guitar would tell you that this is a C sharp and this is an E. So that's one way, having these chords memorized. And you can do this. We'll learn how to move the D shape, the A shape, and the E shape different places and find notes on the fretboard because we know how to spell our chords. But let me give you another, perhaps even more important thing. When you know how to spell, let's just look at the A shape. Okay, I'm going to play with these 3 fingers. You'll see why in a minute. You might be familiar with this shape. I'm fretting the 2nd fret on the 2nd string, 3rd string, and 4th string. So this is your A shape that you may be familiar with. And remember when we learned that in the A chord, we learned that this is an A note, a C sharp, and an E. And once you get familiar with knowing this is the 1 and the 3 and the 5, when you have any chord, if you take the 3, this is a major chord. If you take the 3 and you lower it a half step, on guitar that's just 1 fret lower. So instead of playing the 2nd fret on the 2nd string, I'm going to play the 1st fret on the 2nd string. Turns your major chord into a minor. That's true for all your chords. If you play any major chord and if you know which note is the 3rd and you just lower that note half step, which is 1 fret on the guitar, then you've got a minor chord. That might not seem important when you're making major minor chords because a lot of you have learned, well, I already know E and E minor or A and A minor. But especially if you're interested in jazz, you'll get to the point where you'll want to make a augmented chord or a flat 5 and a flat 9, or there's all kinds of fun things you can do if you know which spot is your 1 and your 3 and your 5, and then you can move them up or down to make your more colorful chords. Let's see, so on A, let me show you a couple more things on A. So we just turned our A major into an A minor, which you can do that on any major chord by moving the 3rd down a half step. Another thing you can know about a chord is if you know where the 1 is on our A shape, here's the 1, that's an A note. And when you take the 1 and you lower the 1 a half step, which is 1 fret lower, so I'm going to, instead of playing the 3rd string 2nd fret, I'm playing this shape. Now it's 3rd string. I've lowered that, what used to be an A, I've lowered it a half step. That's an A major 7. So whenever you take the 1 and you play 1 fret lower, you turn that major chord into a major 7 chord. That's true for all your chords. So if you take the 1 and you lower it 2 frets lower, a whole step lower, then what you have is a regular A7 chord. So any major chord, if you take the 1 and you make it a whole step lower, then you've got your 7th chord, like in a G chord, this is a G note, and if you play there, that makes it your G7 chord. So let's take let's take our A major chord and we'll change 2 things. We'll make it a minor 7, which means our 3rd is going to be a half step lower, and then if you pick up that's where your 1 was. Don't worry if this is a lot to remember. I just want you to see where we're going with this, okay? That you can do 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 things to your chord, okay? So for our A major chord, we're lowering the 3rd, and we're going to pick up the finger that was on the 3rd string. So now our 1 has been lowered 2 frets lower, or a whole step lower, and we've got an A7 chord. So we'll learn more about this, and we'll, like I said earlier, when you learn a little music theory, it helps if you just learn a little bit and then you do something musical with it. So we're going to take these chord spellings and do something musical with it, and then it will be easier to remember and easier to use when you need that knowledge. And when you want to build on it, you'll be able to build on it and things will make sense. So if these lessons are helpful, please remember to like and subscribe and share. That helps me to be able to do this work, helps more people find helpful information. And if you want to get the PDFs, you can sign up for my email list. Go to my website, which is in the description, and you'll get a welcome email that gives you the link to my free instruction page. And you'll also get from time to time a newsletter with other things that are helpful when you're learning music. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.